get ready to see my next thrift flipping victim.
Come on down.
I want to turn this dress into a Pinterest-inspired skirt of my dreams, and just in case you didn't know, I'm a huge Pinterest hoe. I can dig through Pinterest for hours.
Hi everyone, my name is Christina, and I am a Pinterest hoe.
Hi Christina.
Hi, Christina.
So I am going to be using the dress and a curtain I thrifted for the underlayer, and here is my inspiration for the skirt, which I love. My plan is to cut it at the waist and then cut it diagonally and add a white underlayer. So the first thing I did was figure out where I wanted the skirt to lay on my waist.
I'm gonna mark. So I'm gonna mark where I want my new waist to go. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and do a rough estimate of where I want the skirt to be asymmetrical going down. And I think I'm gonna have it shorter on the left, and it's gonna be going long to the right. Let's do that. Okay, so I know it's hard to see it, but I went ahead and I marked along where the new waistband is gonna go, and I marked the asymmetrical line as well, which is, I swear it's there. Now I want to find the side seam. Now there's several panels in this, which I actually didn't think there was, but I want to find the left side seam, and then I'm just going to take my seam ripper and I'm going to rip out the seam all the way down this one side before I cut into the skirt.
I decided to seam rip the seam on the side where I wanted the invisible zipper to go, and you'll see later that it ends up being on the right hand side instead of the left, and I still don't know how that happened. I'm not sure about you, but when it comes to thrift flips, I feel like there's very little room for error, so I tend to overthink on any thrift flip project like a thrift flipping junkie, going over how I plan to cut it, where I'm going to place the zipper, will I have enough material for what I want to do, and if I don't, how will I fix that? The joys of thrift flipping, am I right?
20 minutes later.
Before I cut the asymmetrical part of the top layer of the skirt, I am going to trace this skirt out onto my pattern paper and then double that in size for the underlayer skirt. I want the underlayer skirt to show on the bottom, so it is not going to be asymmetrical, and my plan is to cut that layer out using my sheer curtain. I ended up using this beautiful curtain that has all these little details on it, and I thrifted it for only $4.99, which is so cheap. I love it.
Oh, so now this is all about money.
So I have this part cut out now, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this to the side and cut the skirt to be asymmetrical.
I am totally doing it.
The easiest way for me to cut the diagonal line is to cut down the mark that I made in the front, making sure to put back in seam allowance, and then fold the skirt in half and cut the back part out about 2 inches longer than the top to add some room for my bodacious ass. It is so far looking really cute.
Okay, so remember when I said that when you're doing thrift flips that sometimes things go your way and sometimes they don't?
I'm gonna say no.
So this is one of those moments that it is not going my way. So when I was showing you how cute the asymmetrical skirt is now, and all the nights of planning to make this, what I didn't take into account is that this skirt is stretchy.
Good work, Nancy Drew. Let's meet up at Old Mystery Creek.
And it's also velour, which I mentioned at the beginning that it shows every nook and cranny of your skin, like it's not forgiving. So if you have like a food baby, you do not want to be wearing velour. So my plan with the white part was to make it really wide around the waist and then gather it in. But now I realize if I do that, it's going to show all these little wrinkles underneath that skirt. So I should have used a different dress to make this asymmetrical skirt. Like I should have used a cotton, but I've already started and I'm bound and determined to make this work. So what I did with my white layer, what I ended up doing was going in and just using one of my old patterns that I have that's my exact waist measurements, and I cut off the side and went as wide out as I could so that the bottom is still really poofy. And I made this measurement fit my waist. So that way when I sew this into the other skirt, it's going to lay flush into that skirt and it won't cause any weird wrinkles or bulkage underneath the top layer. And that is my hope. So now I can go ahead and put the two white pieces together and sew down the right seam, leaving the left side open because that's the side that's going to have the zipper.
So this is where I think I messed up, where the skirt ends up being on the right instead of the left, because I added those darts into the back layer and somehow did not stitch the correct side at that point. But I went ahead and serged the side that I did go ahead and pin, and on the other side that's completely open, which is where the zipper is going to go, I went ahead and serged down both of those sides, leaving it still open. Now I can attach the bottom layer to the top layer, making sure that both pretty sides are facing outward. And then when I attached the waist area, it is stretchy on the top layer, so I did have to kind of pull that to make sure that everything lined up perfectly. With the scrap material that I cut off at the bottom of the dress, I'm going to use that to make the ruffle. Before to ruffle, you really do need a nice long layer, so my plan is to cut the entire bottom off because it is already hemmed and I won't have to finish it since it's already done for me. Haha, I'm a genius.
So simple yet so brilliant.
Then I went ahead and put in 2 long basting stitches all the way down this piece so that I could gather it, and that way it looks like a ruffle. And now all I need to do after it's gathered is to attach it to the asymmetrical part of the skirt.
It is like 8 o'clock in the evening and I wanted to be done with this today, and I think I would have been done if I wouldn't have run into the issues that I ran into in the beginning. Anyway, so I went ahead and I made my basic waistband that I always make. I like a wider waistband, so I do like 4 inches so that when I fold it in half it'll be 2 inches wide, if that makes sense. So I'll do like 4 inches width wise, and then I just do a really long waistband. Sometimes I go way longer than my waist, and then since my skirt is already sized to my waist, I will just go ahead and serge this down to match the skirt, which I find sometimes easier to do. But I went ahead and made this simple little waistband, and it did have to be made out of a different material because I didn't have enough of this one. That, and I actually hate making waistbands out of velour. It's such a pain. Anyway, I am almost done. I'm excited.
You a rotten liar.
Anyway, okay, so now I'm gonna attach the waistband and then I'm gonna put in the zipper, and all I have to do is hem up the bottom. And I'm actually in debate mode on whether I should put a black ruffle around the white part, so let's talk about that when we get there. Waistband.
To add the waistband, I just pin the right sides together, and for the end piece that's usually hanging because I make such a large waistband, I'll just serge the end off to make sure that everything is lining up. Then I will stitch where it was pinned, and before I flip it over to stitch the other side, I will add the invisible zipper.
Okay, so it is 9 o'clock in the evening and I got the waistband in and I put in the side zipper, which I did not show how I did that. If you guys want me to ever show you how I put in an invisible zipper, let me know in the comments and I will make sure to show you how I put in an invisible zipper I love invisible zippers and I hate zippers in general, but I feel like gotten better at putting them in, so it's super exciting. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's the next day and I, of course, overthought last night on all of the mistakes that I made and why it took me so long to finish this thrift up. And of course, you also have to remember about me. I am somewhat of a perfectionist.
True, but that's hardly common knowledge, is it?
So when I make something, I don't like waistbands that have elastic in them, unless the elastic is in the back only, so that it's kind of hidden in the front. So for me, that probably would have taken less time than putting in an actual waistband and a zipper. I would have been able to just like finish it really quickly. Okay, so I'm just gonna hem this up and call this a day for this skirt. Okay, let's finish this up. I'm so excited to be done with this.
Here's the before and after, and it's kind of giving chocolate and vanilla swirl on a cone with all of these layers, and I love it.
Okay, so my final thoughts on this thrift flip. This is actually one of the coolest thrift flips I think I've done. I love doing thrift flips because I feel like when you break down a dress or take apart a dress, it really teaches you how to actually put it together. And so I've actually learned a lot by doing these thrift flips, but this is actually one of my favorites. So I'm really glad I did it. I love it. I cussed it out a few times and my room is an utter mess.
Oh my gosh. I just always make such a mess when I'm sewing. It is... it's tragic.
So before I start my next project, I definitely need to clean that up. But this is all my scrap material that I have from the curtain and this dress. I still have like the top part. Oh, actually I still have some from the bottom. And what I really love is I have this pretty bottom part that was on the curtain, which I am going to use. But if you guys have any ideas for me of what I should do with this scrap material, let me know in the comments down below. And I hope you loved this thrift flip, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye!